Just move me away. Just move me away.
Why?
Because I don't want,
Like this?
yeah,
Are you sure? Are you
I
sure?
am sure. Harold,
Like that?
yeah, sometimes you never see Tammy, remember? She's always like on the side.
People are discovering different countries. Hello.
Okay.
Hello. Hey,
Hi,
Bernie.
can you hear me?
How's it going?
You doing?
We're good.
Huh?
We're good. We're in the desert.
How is Tammy feeling?
Tammy's doing a lot of walking.
Good.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, the desert would be very good. No hills, just sand.
Oh, it's flat.
How you doing?
They're in the desert. Is it warm enough for you down there?
Very
It was
warm.
nice. It was 93 or something.
We walked to Shul Friday night, we walked, then we
Wow.
went,
And yesterday back and forth.
we did it.
No, maybe a bit.
43 minutes each
There
way
you
back
go.
and forth.
43 minutes?
43 minutes. Yeah.
That's how when I we went with you, it's the same thing.
Yeah. Well, the Uber was a little farther away.
And we were walking with Mark, remember?
That's right. I think he's still walking.
Yeah. He said he's not coming back till after Shavuos. Apparently, that's what I heard today in shul.
Oh,
Oh,
He went when the twins were born, his
Yeah.
granddaughters.
Move the thing over so I can see them.
Let
You
him
have to
enjoy
move
it.
over here. There.
The weather's very nice there. I saw
All the way
the
till June,
Hi,
wait a second.
Hi, Faggy.
Hi, how are you?
It was-
Good.
Shavuos. Okay, we're counted.
How are you, Mario?
Good.
That's 3 weeks. 3 weeks.
Hi, Faggy.
Hi,
We're in
Faggy.
3 weeks
Hi.
already?
3 weeks until Shavuos. Yeah. We counted what last night was
25.
25.
was
Hey,
25?
what's happening here? Where's
Yeah.
the start?
Yeah.
I'll tell us. I don't have
But what happened before? Huh?
Tammy, did you go to Shul yesterday?
Yeah,
Good, good, good,
I
wonderful.
walked all the way.
That's great.
You walked all the way, fantastic.
I mean, with a cane, you know.
Okay, whatever, you're doing it, that's good.
Go ahead.
Yeah, but I'm missing the trip.
We'll bring back some spaghetti for you.
What?
We'll bring back some spaghetti.
Yeah,
You'll make it next year.
Yeah,
yeah, but you won't be there.
Maybe we will. Who knows? We shall see.
We just saw a program in for Sukkot in Portofino.
I sent it
Oh,
to
yes,
Harold.
it's like too.
Right. Yeah. That looks nice.
I've seen that before, that they have that program, that hotel. That's an old hotel,
Oh.
but it says 5-star.
But they fixed it up.
Yeah, but it's 5 out of 20. You didn't read the small print.
But it's right on the ocean, what could be better?
Yeah, Portofino's pretty.
They call that the Italian Riviera. I didn't know there was such
Yeah.
a thing.
But the thing,
Yeah,
is-
yeah.
Would you take exception to that? Does Italy have a right to a Riviera?
Of course.
Fagin does.
Spain too.
Can Italy say it has its own Riviera?
Yeah,
Yeah, Spain
Spain
has a river.
also. Costa
Yeah.
del Sol.
I once had a Buick Riviera. Does that count?
Which Riviera?
Buick Riviera.
Yeah,
Boy, you're really dating yourself now, Harold.
I'm dating myself because no one else will date me.
Because everybody on this call knows exactly about the Buick.
So how's Richie doing?
He's good. He's having therapy in Century City, and it's they're very busy with him. Three times a day, they're making him this and that, which is good. Otherwise, he wouldn't
Yeah.
do it.
No, that's what it is. You're not motivated the same when you do. Although
When they
today I
push you.
swam. Hmm?
Yeah, they push you. Yeah, they push you. It's good.
Yeah.
I have physical therapy twice a week, and I just started this aqua therapy.
Oh, that's
Swimming.
good. You do it in your own pool?
Yeah.
Excellent. Excellent. It's good you put it in.
That's right. It only took 40 years.
She smiles and makes me a patch.
It was such to convince this man that I want a pool. We have nowhere to put it.
Ah, there's Ernie.
Where's Magda?
She's on the phone with Racheli. She's called.
Hi, Shavua Tov.
Hello.
Let me have
Hi.
it.
So
So we are going to conclude Malachim Bays tonight.
Olive, you mean?
I'm sorry. We're going to conclude Malachim Aleph tonight, God willing.
Where's Melachim Bet?
And we'll start Malachim Bet next week.
What's going on? I don't even know.
I will get everybody up to speed.
I guess you did this because Yavne has something going on, so some people
Tonight is an event at Yavne at 7 o'clock.
don't
So
want to come.
otherwise we'll be back to our normal time of 8 o'clock next week.
yeah.
Let's go back to Pasuk Lamed Vav, 36.
Are we on?
That in Pasuk Lamed Hey, if you remember, Achav went out to do battle. He was actually seduced to go to do battle by the spirit of Navot, who he had murdered. And an arrow had penetrated his armor. He bled to death in his chariot. And Pasuk Lamed Vav, Vayavor harina b'machaneh. The word went out that the king had been killed and that you can stop fighting. Very few Jews had been killed, if any. And a song broke out. Rina means simcha. There's a Gemara in Sanhedrin, Lamed Tes Omid Beis, quoting this pasuk, Vayavor harina b'machaneh. Rashi says, Amar Rav Acha bar Chanina uvavod rishoim rina. When evil people are destroyed, there's happiness. The world was waiting for Achab to be destroyed, and when he was killed, there was rina in the mouths of everybody. That's how the Gemara learns. Now, we can ask the following question. Normally, Hashem is not happy when any of his creatures that he created are killed. Like it says in Sanhedrin, Umichari Kodesh Baruch Hu Mimaltalzon Sh'Rishoyim. There's a Kodesh Baruch Hu happy when Rishoyim are killed. It says B'tseis Lifnei Chalutz. The Oimrim Hodul Hashem Kilo Lam Chazdo. And Rabbi Yochanan asks me, Ne'maloi Nemer B'hoido Zo Ki Tov. It just says Hodul Hashem. Doesn't say Hodul Hashem Ki Tov. Lefi she'ena Kodesh Baruch Hu sameach b'malatan shel Rishaim. HaKadosh Baruch Hu is not happy with the downfall of Rishoim. And there's another famous place where we see this by Kriyas Yamsuf. It says V'lo karav zeh el zeh kol halayla. The two camps, the Egyptians and the Israelites, did not approach each other. The Malachim wanted to sing Shira because the Egyptians were drowning. The handiwork of my creation, these are human beings, are drowning, and you're going to say Shira? So, Hashem is not happy, but other people are happy here as well. We can explain the people were happy with Achav's death. Av she'ein simcha eitz l'kodesh baruch hu b'nefilus rishoyim, aval eitz la'am haya simcha b'misas Achav. Shelo haya kol kach ahu b'toch amo. He was not that beloved among the nations. Look at what's going on today. The president of Iran was killed in a helicopter accident. And the whole nation of the Iranians are lighting off firecrackers, and they're happy. This is exactly what's going on.
He had sentenced thousands of people to death.
No, one was supposed
That's in
to
the
be.
revolution.
No, but if you read, I read it now.
Right.
Because was gonna.
Sign the death.
There's
He
a
was
death
gonna
warrant
do
of a
something.
Jewish person. Yes.
Yeah, so maybe
Yeah.
he'll get free, but I'm not so sure.
But I heard Biden is very sad.
Why?
That's his buddy.
So, Ernie, in the Me'am Lois, it shows an alternate explanation of the word Rina is cry rather than feeling of joy. And that's what you were saying. God cries when one of his creations have to be killed, right? So,
Okay, but I would
he
say
quotes from Koheles.
yes. But
Quotes
I,
a pasuk in Koheles. I don't know if that's what you're going to say.
no, I'm not going to say that. But I would say the normal translation of Rina is usually Simcha.
Yes.
So the Me'amlo has found a place where it's referencing HaKadosh Baruch Hu, that as we just said, HaKadosh Baruch Hu is not happy, but the people were happy. Now, in Moed Cotton, Chav Ches Amud Beis, there's another reference to this event. Nane Rabbi Akiva v'Omar, Bayom Hahu Yigdal HaMisped B'Yushalayim. On this day, there was a big eulogy in Jerusalem. Kemisped Adad Rimon B'Vikat Meginot. And there the Gemara explains, it refers to Misped Achav Bar Omri. So there was a big funeral, and that's the Rina, like what Bernie is trying to say, that there was crying, there was a hesped. So Tosfos asks this question: how could it be that there was a big levaya for Achav? I thought he's a Rasha. The people didn't like him. So Tosfos and Baba Kama answers, even though it says by Avora Rina b'Machaneh, and we have the Gemara that says Ba'avud Rishoim Rina, when Rishoim fall, it's happy, and we learn Ba'avud Achav ben Amri Rina. That's the tzaddikim shebedur. The tzaddikim of the generation were happy. Aval avadav o'avav, but he had a retinue around him, his servants, people who liked him, so they were maspid him. The Ritva in Moed Cotton answers that the Rina was I said before, no one had died in this war. The Jewish people were happy because they had no casualty, just the king. So there was no rina for the death of the king. There was rina that no Jewish casualties had occurred during this battle. Okay, Lamed Zayin. Vayamata Melech, Vayavor Shomron. They brought the king to his capital city. Vayikberu et HaMelech b'Shomron. Achav was buried in Shomron. Lamed Ches. Vayishtof et HaRechav al Brechat Shomron. The chariot, when it went through the river of Shomron, it got cleaned of its blood. And the blood mixed with the water of that brecha. Vayilakua klavim et damo. The dogs licked up his blood. Vehazonot rachatzu. The prostitutes bathed in that river. Kidvar Hashem asher diber. If you remember, various Nevi'im had given Achav prophecy. And through this mechanism, the prophecy came through.
Yeah, those were the same words that Elio.
That come through the prostitutes. I don't get that.
So let's learn it. So number one, nobody rinsed the chariot. It got cleaned on its own. And the Navi Eliyahu, Perek Chaf Aleph, Pasuk Yutes, Bimkom asher lakakua klavim et dam navot, the man that Achav murdered, Navos, had his blood licked by dogs. So in the same place, Elio predicted that the dogs had licked Navos's blood. Yalokua klavim et damcha gamata. Your blood will be licked by the dogs as well.
Ayin tachasayin.
So it links the Onesh that he killed Navot.
Yeah.
Now, Michiyahu, the other Navi, who after Achav kept Ben Hadad alive, he said, Vaita nafshecha tachat nafsho. Your life will be to replace his life. So now all of the prophecy of Eliyahu didn't come true. He had said that the house of Achav would be destroyed because Achav did tshuva. And remember, we learned that Hashem said those things would only occur during the sons of Achav, not during Achav's life himself. What about the question, Navos was put to death in Emek Yisrael. And here, this is in Shomron. So some want to say, Emek Yisrael is not that far from Shomron. And this river, Brechat Shomron, goes all the way to Israel. So it basically fulfilled the Nevuah. Now, what Temi asked about the Zonos, so the Gemara in Sanhedrin, Lamed Tes Amud Beis, Amar Rabbi Lazar, Lemaret Shtei Chezyonot, the word Zonah and the word Chizayon means prophecy. That it became clear, these prophecies, one of Michayahu and one of Eliyahu, that the word Zonot is not prostitutes, from the language of Chizayon, that the death of Achav and that the dogs drank the blood fulfilled what Eliyahu and Michayahu had said. The word Rachatzu comes to mean like it became clear. Remember, Michayahu had said that if I would be viewed as a Navi Sheker if he comes back alive, right? But if he doesn't come back alive, that's a siman that I was speaking truth from Hashem. Now, in that Gemara, Rava says, Zonos Mamish. No, they were prostitutes who washed. Why is that? This is the Gemara, I'm going to read it. Achav ish mitzunan haya. Achav was frigid. From mitzunan means cold. That means he was difficult to arouse sexually. Rashi explains there, Lo haya ohev tashmish. He was not a person who enjoyed to cohabit. So Izevel manufactured two pictures of beautiful zonot on his chariot, so that he would see them, and it would, stimulate his sexual desire. That's what the Gemara says, and that's why Zonos over there bathed in Achav's blood. It's a simon to this what Izevel, his wife, had done to her husband. Lamites. Yeser divrei Achav, the other words of Achav, v'chol asher asa, his other doings, uveit hashen asher bana, the palace of ivory, right? A shein is a tooth, right? Ivory is from elephants, right? Uveit hashen asher bana, v'chol he'arim asher bana, all the cities he built. Alohem ksuvim, al sefer divrei yamim l'malchei Yisrael. They are written, now remember, Sefer Melachim is written by Yirmiyah Navi. Divrei Hayamim, Aleph and Beis, is written by Ezra Sofer. The Divrei Hayamim only give us stories about Malchei Yehuda, the Judean kings. The Divrei Hayamim, the Malchei Yisrael, we don't have that book. It's not part of our canon. So there are more details when we get, God willing, to learn Divrei Yomim about both Achav and but primarily the Divrei Yomim is a book about Malchei Yehuda, and everything we know about the Malchei Yisrael are in Melachim Aleph and Melachim Beis.
Just for information, the Mayam Lois has 4 pages of Divrei Hayamim, mostly on Yehoshaphat, but also on also on
Right. So
written in here, so you should see tying into these pesukim. So there was a lot of good things that Yehoshaphat had done, but there was also merit that Achav had for things that he had done, which is why the scales were not tipped until he saw to the death of
Navo.
Yeah, no.
Of novels. Yeah, well, we're going to get to exactly what Bernie is saying about Divrei Hayamim. We will mention some of the Divrei Hayamim material when it's relevant to. There is not. We'll see when we discuss Yehoshaphat in this parak, we will mention some of the things that are mentioned in Divrei Hayamim. But I wanted to explain, because the Divrei Hayamim that we have really only gives us information about the Malchei Yehuda, not about Malchei Yisrael, not very much. So Pasuk Mem, Vayishkav Achav im avotav imloch Achaziyahu b'no tachtav, and his son Achaziyahu ruled after him. Now, to build a palace of ivory, that's very expensive. It shows us the assets and the resources that were at the tips of Achav HaMelech. Barbara, we're on.
Oh,
we're on Pasuk Mem.
thank you.
Perek
In which,
Perek
thank
Chavtet.
you, thank you, thank you.
And Perek Chavbet. I said Perek Chavbet. Now, you came at the right time, because we've discussed the death of Achav and his burial. And I want to give a summary. We've been dealing with Achav for the last 5 prakim. There's probably more about him. The only one there's more about is Shlomo HaMelech in Melachim Aleph. So in Perek
Why
Tet,
I'm sorry, Ernie, why do you think he merits this kind of elaborate detail?
okay, so let's review some of it, and that'll give us the idea. So, he ruled for 22 years. By the way, I sent a whole bunch of material through the WhatsApp group, some maps, we'll discuss them, and I sent some chronology about the Judean kings and the Israelite kings up until we were where we are. So please refer to them as needed. Now, in Perek Tet Zayin, when Achav is introduced to us, it says, Vayas Achav ben Amri hara b'nei Hashem, mikol asher lufanav. Achav did more evil than anyone who came before him. Even worse than Yeravam, who was a Chote Umachti. Says the Gemara in Sanhedrin, Daf Tzadik Omer Aleph. Shlosha Melachim ein lahem chelik l'olam haba. 3 kings had no share in the next world. Yeravam, Achav, Umenashe. So Achav was a big Russia who was not Zoicha l'chai l'olam haba. On the other hand, we see many good things about Achav. And let's review them. So first of all, in last week, in this Perek, Pasuk Chaf, we learned it last week. The Gemara in Sanhedrin, Kuf Beis Amud Beis. Rav Nachman, Achav Shakul Haya. Achav was 50-50. That means if we added up his sins and we added up his mitzvos, it was 50-50. That's what Rashi says. Mechza vonos umechza zechuyos. They had to get in Shemayim to the point they had to find a spirit who would go and seduce Achav to go into battle. It wasn't easy to punish him. Then in Perek Yud Ches, we said that Achav was a big Baal Chesed. When there was a famine, he himself went to look for food for the people, for the animals. He fasted when there was the need to fast for rain. He also didn't eat until Eliyahu Hanavi told him to eat. He gave great honor to the Torah. When Ben-Hadad came and demanded that they send Torahs to him, he refused. The Gemara said that because of the 22 letters of the Torah that he respected, he was able to rule for 22 years. So let's understand. He worshipped Avodah Zarah. He brought the Baal to the northern kingdom, which never left them and was the cause for their downfall. It sounds like he didn't believe in Hashem. How could he keep the Torah to this extent that he was 50-50 mitzvos and 50-50 averos? So much so that when we learned that Eliyahu Hanavi was hiding in a cave and the ravens brought him meat, they brought it from the house of Achav because he was keeping kosher. So how do we explain this? So we're going to bring from one of the Rishonim, the Sefer HaIkarim, that we human beings, there's 613 mitzvahs. We can't count this mitzvah is important and more important than other mitzvahs. So he brings that the mitzvah of Avodah Zarah, lo yelach elokim acherim al panai, you shouldn't have other gods. Lo taseh lecha pesach, don't big an idol. Lo tishtachav elahem, don't bow down. Eina over aleh kofer b'chol haTorah, the lo b'chol ikareha. A person who worships Avodah Zarah, he violated that command. But it's not like he was koifer in the rest of the Torah. Afal pi shehi aver chamura me'od, says the Sefer HaIkarim. It's a terrible sin. Ad sha'amru Rabboseinu, Chazal say, kol hamodeh b'avodas elilim, ki kofer b'chol haTorah kula. Whoever admits that there's power to an Avodah Zarah, it's as if he did koifer. It's as if he did deny the Torah, but it's not that he is a koifer, it's kid koifer. So we see that Achav was not koifer be'ikr. He believed in Eliyahu. He thought that it was Eliyahu that stopped the rain. Because remember when he went up with Eliyahu, he said, Ata zeh ocher Yisrael? Are you the evil person who's preventing rain from falling? He made a mistake by worshiping idols. Now, how does the Sefer HaIkarim explain? He says He thought maybe the idols was going to be an intermediary between him and Hashem. Or there was a thought that Hashem is mashgiach, but only on tzaddikim, like Eliyahu and other tzaddikim. But regular people are subject to the fate of the world. And at that time, the pagans around them believed that when you worship the Baal or the Ashtarot or the various Avodah Zaras, this helped the average person. So this is how some of the Rishonim explain this duality of Achav. Let's go further. And we'll probably mention again, God willing, when we learn Melachim Beis, by Menashe Melech. He's the third person that the Gemara in Sanhedrin mentions, doesn't have chelik in Olam Haba. So the Gemara there says, Hayat Talmid Chacham Muflag. He was a huge Talmid Chacham. The Adab al-Chotsh Ravashi v'Amiran lo yod. He knew halachos that Ravashi and the other authors of the Gemara didn't know. So Vishala Ravashi, I guess, had a visitation in a dream from Menashe Melech. And he asked him, you were so smart. My time of kapalchisul of Avodah. Why did you worship Avodah Zarah? Omer lei. Menashe answered Ravashi, you have a hasam. If you would have been there with us, have a nakitna b'shipuli glima. You would have picked up the hem of your toga and you would have run after it as fast as you could. Because it's easier to run when they lift their toga. There was a Yetzer Avodah Zarah that was ruling. And even Shomrei Torah mitzvahs were drawn into it. I'm going to add something that I saw in the Yehei Hayam, which I think is we may have mentioned this before. Nira lahosif l'faresh. At that time, people were closer to Kodesh Baruch Hu than in later generations. We see there were millions of people that were zochet to nevuah, not thousands, millions. Hand in hand with desire to be close to Hashem, then you have this Yetzer Hara for Avodah Zarah. Shahayat ta'avat litkarev l'Hashem yoter be'emsaut acherut. What Avodah Zarah was an attempt to get closer to Hashem through other means. Now, after the destruction of Bayis Rishon, and Anshe Knesset Gdola came back, Bitlu Anshe Knesset Gdola es Yetzer Hara shel Avodah Zarah. They nullified this Yetzer Hara through davening. And we see, therefore, Ba'osa Zan is Batla Nevuah. There are no Nevi'im in Bayis Sheni. So one goes hand in hand. Once they abolished the Yetzer Hara of Avodah Zarah, we couldn't have the closeness to Hashem that allows Nevuah. The Tluyim Elu Be'elu. Hakolu Machmas Kurva Hashem. It's all about getting close to God. So this gives us a little more insight. Pasuk Mem Aleph. V'Yoshafat ben Asam Malach al Yehuda. We were introduced to Yoshafat. He's the Melech of Judea. He had come to help Achav HaMelech in his fight against Aram. Yehoshaphat at this time is the king in Judea. Bishnat Arba la'Achav Melech Yisrael. He began to rule in Judea in year 4 of Achav's reign. Achav was in 3021 and he started reigning in 3025. Yehoshaphat was the son of Asa, who was also a great tzaddik. Pasuk Mem Beis. Yehoshaphat ben 35 shana b'malcho. Yehoshaphat was 35 years when he was crowned king. Ve'esrim v'chamesh shana malach b'Yushalayim. He ruled for 25 years. V'shem imo Azuva bat Shilchi. The name of his mother was Azuva bat Shilchi. Now, we learned before that the tendencies of men comes primarily from their mother. The Abarbanel says that this name Azuva means somebody who was left, that the mother and Yehoshaphat were estranged from each other. Yehoshaphat sent the mother away. And that's why it's called Azuva bat Shilchi.
Why? Because Shalach Oto?
Shalach Oto and Azuva, she left.
Abandoned.
Now, bring me this. Yeah. We learned about Avshalom when it said, I'm sorry, we learned about Yeravam ben Nevat, and after Yeravam ben Nevat was the Melech Aviyam. And it says, Shem imo Macha bat Avishalom. His mother was Macha. And there's a debate, was she a good woman? Was she a bad woman? Most hold that she was an Isha Ra. And the Rabbeinu Bachai says, we just learned it this week in Parshas Emor. Shem imo Shlomit bat Tivri l'matedan. One of the people from the Jewish people cursed HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And it says that it gave us the name of her mother. And the Rabbeinu Bachai explains, Hi hayta sibat hachet. Why is the mother the cause of the sin? Says Rabbeinu Bachai, Tam hadavar lefisha uber notzar midam aveset. Number one, the fetus arises from the blood of the uterus. Umisgadel bebeten imos man katsuv. For 9 months, the fetus grows in the uterus of the mother. Gamachrei oldo ivaldo v'tzeitol aver olam. And after he's born, yonech deimo. He nurses from the mother. Ulakach, says Rabbeinu Bachai, yitchayev sheyet hivo nikshar b'teva en yoter miteva av. The son's nature is closer to the mother more than the father. Umasav domim l'masei ha'em yoter mimasha domim l'masei ha'av. The actions of a son are more characteristic of the mother than the characteristics of the father. And that's why it says here also the name of the mother. I thought that was very interesting. The Rabbeinu Bachai there. Any comments?
So we're more like,
Only to laugh.
Okay. Rabbeinu
Why?
Bachai.
Why?
Rabbeinu Bachai is a major rishon. He's telling us something. There's probably a lot of truth in it. But I don't know. We have to think about our own children and who do they take? Who do they take after the mother? Do they take after the father? I don't. And by the way, here it talks about the sons. I would think that the same thing would apply to the daughters as well. They're also created in the same process as the sons. So anyways, we have to think about that.
Do we have
But
any
it-
examples where the son turns out to be a tzaddik or a special person with the zechuyot being due to the mother? Or is it only the negative that so far you've pointed out?
No, I would say it would be the opposite too. It would be the positive would come. It's just there's a tremendous influence of the mother on the children. That's basically what Rabbeinu Bachai.
So
There's
you
that
can see that
critical-
Beyond
There's
beyond the obvious that women raise the children in the home.
the critical
Rabbeinu
period.
Rabbeinu Bachai is talking about a biological hashpah.
Oh,
I read it. it's from the blood of the uterus. The child lives in the mother's body for 9 months, and then the child nurses from the mother. So he's making a physical connection, not just
But here,
that the mothers raise the children.
but then you've got nature versus nurture. You've got so many variables. So,
But it's nature plus.
okay,
It's what Rabbeinu Bachai is saying. It's nature plus nurture.
plus the nurtures.
The man provides DNA. That's it. And of course,
Okay.
nurture. Of course, nurture. We assume that there's a partnership in the creation of the children. But Rabbeinu Bachai is telling us that there's a very strong hashpah of the mother in the children, beyond nurture.
I'm saying you might find models in the Avot, Yaakov and Rivka, Yosef and Rachel. There's strong kesher there between the two. Perhaps.
But what about, but you have Esav as well.
Okay, so there's a lot of Torah about what went wrong with Esav and what did he take from his mother and what he rejected. So yes, that is they were twins too.
That's right.
Makes it even more difficult to understand because you think the nature would be equal, and the nurture, maybe he certainly rejected the nurture. Esav is not described as Yoshev Ohalim. Esav is described as a hunter who went out and perhaps didn't have the same kind of nurture that Yaakov had. Okay, let's go further. Mem Gimel. Vayelech b'chol derech Asavi. Yoshaphat was a tzaddik, just like Asa, his father. Lo sar mimenu lasos hayashar b'nei Hashem. He didn't divert from doing what's right in the eyes of God. And the Alshich says, not just open things. Lo bilvad begalui leinei basar asatov. Some people only do good things when they're out in the open and people see them. Ki gam b'nei Hashem shu b'seiter, b'mokum she'ein anashim haya oseh yashar. That's how the Alshich learns here, that even in the privacy of his own, wherever he was, where nobody was looking, he always did the right thing because it's in the eyes of God, and God sees us wherever we are. Now, important pasuk. Acha bamot lo saru. Oda am mizabchim umikatrim babamot. Remember, a bama is a private mizbeach. These were also prevalent in Yehuda. Once you could offer certain korbanos on the private bama, but once the Beis HaMikdash was built, you're not allowed to offer a korban on a bama at the pain of kares. If you offer something outside of Yerushalayim, the punishment is kares. So it says, this is not Lavodah Zarah. This is offering korbanos to Hashem. So it says that he didn't remove it. Elamicha behem. He protested against them. But the people didn't listen to him. They couldn't hold themselves back from keeping with this practice. And it's viewed a little bit as a chet for Yoshaphat that he actually didn't remove it b'koach. Now, bring me that, please. I want to go back. We learned this. It's a little bit of a review, but it's important. This was from Perek Tetzvav. That v'habamot lo saru. There also it talks about the kings that did not remove the bama. Now, once the Mishkan and Shiloh had been destroyed, it was 57 years where the bamas were permitted. And the people got used to offering these korbanos on their bama. Now, even though now the base of Mikdash was built, and it's now prohibited on the pain of Koris, was a very big nisoyon for the people to leave this practice. Since they were doing it, l'shem shamayim, Asa HaMelech, who also, the father of Yehoshaphat, did not destroy the Bamos, he said, better that they are makriv to Hashem than to Avodah Zarah. So is that a sin of the king or the sin of the people? It seems like it was a sin of the people. They wanted to be makriv the korbanos in their territory, not to have to go to Yerushalayim, it was far. They learned from their relatives in the north, in the Malchei Yisrael, that they were also offering there. So that's why there's a time against the king. Until Chizkiyahu HaMelech, which we're going to learn, God willing, in Melachim Beis, he removed the Bamos. There was a discussion that you were not allowed to destroy those Bamos when there was Heter Bamos. So they remained there, and nobody destroyed them until Chizkiyahu HaMelech. Now, so there's this concept of a lesser evil. Now, the Chassam Sofer says that he again talks about the fact that the Anshe Knesset Gdola got rid of the Yetzer Hara of Avodah Zarah because they were Mesakein Tefillah and the Siddur in order to be Makadesh Shem Shamayim Barabim with 10 men to make a minyan, to gather 3 times a day like you were offering a Tamid. And they built the shuls. So there was always a place at a time that a Jew could be Makarev to an Hashem. They didn't need Karbonos, says the Chassam Sofer. So our shuls and our minions and our davening 3 times a day is an institution that replaced the Bama. The people were so used to it, and we've gotten rid of this Yetzer because it's been replaced. These great people, it was easier to have dveikus to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and they didn't want to travel to Yerushalayim. But because these kings like Asa and Yehoshaphat thought that this Avera was like a mitzvah, they're not fully tzaddikim. That's why it says on them, Oda am is abchrim umekatrim babamot. It's a bad thing. So Rav Yaakov Kamenetsky says that there weren't a lot of policemen running around the Jewish people checking, are they being Mekayim the Torah or not? They would make announcements in the name of the king that this is a mitzvah and this is how you have to behave. But people who had private mizbech in their backyard, they made a heter for themselves. They said to themselves like this, you know when Yerushalayim is the choice place to offer korbanos? When all 12 shvatim are together. Because the pasuk says, when should you go to Yerushalayim to offer korbanos? Only when Klal Yisrael is together. Now they said, since there are 10 tribes who don't come to Yerushalayim, they thought it's permitted to offer at Abama.
So Ernie, could you draw a parallel between going to the Beit HaMikdash and worshiping, bringing a carbon at Abama to modern day davening in an established shul versus davening in a backyard minyan?
I'm not getting into that.
Well,
With an
what the
established
Chassam,
shul
what the
versus
Chassam Sofer said was the Anshe Knesset Agdola establishment of 3 times davening Keneged Atmidim and minyan and gather in a place. Because obviously the people had a desire to be miskarev to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So at that time they did it with korbanos, whether in Yerushalayim or the Bama. But once the Beis Hamikdash was destroyed, they had to come up with this other technique of doing it. And so if you have a minyan in the backyard, you still have a minyan, you're still davening. So it's just an interesting description of how our shuls were created. Now, Pasuk Mem Hey, Vayashlem Yehoshaphat im Melech Yisrael. Now, you notice we are going to mention a bunch of things, basically 2 things that Yehoshaphat did bad. Right? It said he didn't destroy the Bamos, and it said that Yehoshaphat made peace with Achav. Achav Shaitan, right? Number one, he married Achav's sister. The daughter of Omri, who was the father of Achav, was the wife of Yehoshaphat. Then he married his son Yehoram to the daughter of Achav. By the way, this connection, you never had Baal. You didn't have Avodah Zarah yet in Yehuda. You had Bamois. But Bamois, those korbanos are offered to Hashem. So this marriage between Yehoshaphat and Achav began the destruction that crept into the Judaic kings. We have to keep that in mind. Now listen what this says in Pasuk Memvav. Yeter divrei Yehoshaphat ugvurato, asher asav asher nilcham, halohem ksuvim al sefer divrei Yamim Malchei Yehuda. We're not told anything else about Yehoshaphat. You want to know the details? Look in Divrei Yomim. Now, in Divrei Yomim, there are 3 prakim, Perek Yud Zayin until Perek Chaf, which describes his wealth. It discusses how he spread the Torah study everywhere in Eretz Yisrael, that he was a regional power. He built projects, how much money they made. He had organized an army. None of that is mentioned here, just the bad thing. Now, so that we can discuss why Yirmiyah Melech. Ezra Sofer, the Divrei Yomim is a book about Malchus Beis David. So he really wanted to promote that. Yirmiyahu wants to talk about, he knew that the people were going to get exiled, and maybe he's trying to give us the chronology of how the evil crept into the Judaic kings as well. Then Mem Zayin. Yeter HaKadesh, Asher Nishar B'mei Asaviv B'yer Minar. Now he says, there was immorality. Kadesh, the word Kadesha means a harlot, a prostitute. Sometimes they were connected to houses of idol worship, sometimes not. So immorality, Yehoshaphat got rid of. Why does it say the word Kadesh in a male tense? Because these were also homosexuality things. And that's some of the Rishonim, some of the Radak and the Yonasan ben Uziel say that it was because he abolished all that. Then, Melech ein de Edom nitzav Melech. Now, in Edom, the Torah tells us in Bereshis, Eilam lachim asher malchu be'eretz Edom lifneim lach melech bnei Yisrael. There were 8 kings in Edom before the Jewish people had even 1 king. Rashi there says Shmona Hayu, Kenegden Hemid Yaakov Uvotel Malchus Esav Bimeim. When the Jewish people set up kingdoms, they got rid through power because David HaMelech conquered Edom and he got rid of their kings. And they only sent like ambassadors. That's the concept of a nitziv. So who were the 8 kings? Shaul, Ishboshet, David, Shlomo, Rechavam, Avia, Asa, and Yehoshaphat. And then in the times of Yehoshaphat's son, Yoram, Biyom of Posha Edom Mitachas Yad Yehuda v'imluchu aleim melech. They revolted against the power of the Judean kings, and they appointed a king for themselves. So Yehoshaphat is the last king that ruled over Edom where they didn't have a king. And they didn't accept, domination. If you remember when Rivka, we mentioned Esav and Yaakov, that she goes to Shem ve'Aver, and they tell her, Milom yamatz v'rav yavot seir. When one is up, the other is going to be down. And that's Rome and Jerusalem. Rome is up, Jerusalem is down. Jerusalem is up, Rome is down. Chazal say, Lo yishvu b'gdola, kishazek comes and nofel. Umelech Yoshaphat haya melech achron shamad b'gdula. So much so, those of you who visited Rome, there were hundreds of arches, victorious arches throughout Rome. Only 2 remain. The Arch of Titus and the Arch of Constantine. And there's a reason for that. The arches were made out of beautiful marble. The citizens of Rome, over the thousands of years, destroyed all the arches and used it for building materials for their home. Why did they keep the Arch of Titus, the Arch of Constantine? The Arch of Titus was built when Titus came back to Rome with 70,000 Jewish slaves to show the victory of Rome over Jerusalem. And embedded in the Arch of Titus, you see the Jewish slaves carrying the menorah. There was a edict that the Jews were not, that the rabbis said we should not stand under the Arch of Titus. When we went, we wanted to see it. I think it was abolished because now the state of Israel.
But we didn't go under it.
That means it was a symbol of the downfall of Jews. The Arch of Constantine was built because Constantine was the emperor who accepted Christianity. So they kept these 2 arches to show the dominance of Christianity over Judaism. Relates to this, what we just learned now. Now, so we see that this is chabrus, this connection between Yehoshaphat and Achav with the Russia, and he married into them. This has already laid the seeds for the Churban Abayis. Into his family is now all of these evil things that the Malchei Yisrael were doing, and that's going to lead to the problem in the future. Memtes. Yoshaphat asa aniyot Tarshish lechet Ophir lazav. Yoshaphat, you can build ships to go down to Ophir. I sent you a map. It's at the bottom of Saudi Arabia, opposite where Sheba. I sent you one of the maps shows Sheba at the tip of Saudi Arabia, and then across the water into Africa, you'll see Ophir. That's where the gold was. I sent you a few maps. The one was at the tip of Saudi, not that one. That's the tip of the Sinai Desert. Go all the way down to where the Red Sea opens, where the Gulf of Aden. That's the tip of Saudi Arabia. And I sent you a map of the world so you see a little bit better where Saudi Arabia is. See where Saudi Arabia is, where that Gulf of Aden goes into the Red Sea. That's what they think Ophir is. And the various treasure hunters, King Solomon's mines, that's where they think it is. And Yehoshaphat went into business with the son of Achav, Achaziah, because they wanted to bring back riches just like Shlomo Melech did. But it didn't work because the ships got broken, and Yehoshaphat figured out it has to do with being mischaber with the Rishonim. One of the Nevi'im told him that. After they got together, the Navi in Divrei Yomim, it's quoted, says, it's because you friended up with Achaziah, that's why Hashem went against you. Pasuk Nun Azamar Achaziah ben Achav al Yehoshaphat Yelchu Vadayim Vadech Banios. So Achaziah said, listen, I have expert sailors and ship masters. I will send them. They won't get destroyed. But V'lava Yehoshaphat. Yehoshaphat learned his lesson. He saw that any partnership with the Rishonim is not going to help. So he learned his lesson. Pasuk Nun Aleph, Vayishkav Yehoshaphat im avotav. Remember, there's 3 prokim in Divrei Yomim that go into the full detail of Yehoshaphat's rule, but here it's much shorter. Vayikaver im avotav be'ir David aviv, vayimloch Yoram beno tachtav. And his son Yoram ruled after him. By the way, in Perek Yud Zayin of Divrei Yomim, it says that Yehoshaphat destroyed all the Baal and all the Bamos of Avodah Zarah. He taught Torah to everybody. And he was Machzir the Am to Tshuva. And he appointed Shoftim. And there were Nisim that occurred during wars against Ammon and Moab because of his tzidkis. They're not mentioned in Sefer Melachim. Because, as I said, Yirmiyah is focused on the things that are going to affect the future. He made a mistake by making peace with Achav. He was mischaber, he married into them. And then he also, with his son, wanted to go into business. All of these are the bad hashpas that are going to lead to problems down the road. Then we get a little story about Achaziyahu ben Achav, Malach al Yisrael b'Shomron. After Achav died, Achaziyahu, his son, took over. This was Bishnat Shvasrei Yehoshaphat Melech Yehuda, the 17th year of Yehoshaphat's rule. Vayimloch Yisrael Shnatam, he ruled for 2 years. Vayas hara b'nei Hashem. Achaziyahu didn't change from what his father did. Vayelech b'derech aviv v'derech imo with Izevel, u'v'derech Yerovam ben Nevat asher achtias Yisrael. Vayavodas habal, vayishtach velo, vayacheses Hashem lokei Yisrael k'chol asher asavi. He didn't learn any tshuva. And that's going to be important as to what happens next. And that's how we finish Sefer Melachim. Look at I also sent dates of Eli, Shmuel, Shaul, David, Shlomo, Bin Beis HaMikdash.
Do you have a chronology map that you can share with us of all the kings of?
I sent it to you. Look at your thing. I sent it to
I
you.
saw it, but that's not that you can't print that out. But
you can.
Why
yeah,
not?
I see
You
by
can't
Shaul.
print
It
it?
ends with
You
after
can-
Shlomo.
Oh, okay. No, that's. I'll send more, but I sent you the list of the Malchei Yisrael up until we are now. So I sent the full Malchei Yisrael, and I sent Malchei Yehuda as well.
Oh, I see it now.
Oh, if you want, I'll send all of it. Okay, I'll send all of it, and I'll send it.
Yes, you can. You can
Bernie, you can print it. Just email it to
email
yourself
it to
and print it.
yourself and then you print it.
Yeah, no, I meant a map where you see a timeline with the dates. Here you
Well,
have.
here
the
I
timeline
have
see
dates.
it.
I don't have the regular. This is just the Jewish dates.
Right. Okay, that's fine. I see that.
It's 7 o'clock, you better go.
Anyways, I think it's a great thing that we finished Sefer Melachim Aleph.
Chazak.
Chazak.
Well, we didn't really finish. When we finish Melachim Beis, we'll make a siyum, God willing. And we will start, God willing, Melachim Beis next week.
Well, next week is like Omer. Does that affect us at all? Yeah.
It could. Yeah.
Well, again, we could do it at 8 o'clock at night. I think
Oh, true.
we can go back to regular time. I think it probably
Take
works
a
better.
poll of the people.
What, does everybody like 6 o'clock, or do we want to stay at 6, or we want to do 8?
Prefer 8.
Prefer 8.
Okay.
What's wrong with 7?
Well, no, but see.
Yeah, maybe 7. Yeah.
No, but we have Mincha and Myriad. So
Minion.
Oh.
Minion. Yeah.
in fact, it'll
That
probably be
becomes a
about 8.
problem.
It'll probably be 8:15
Because
of Mincha Mar doesn't finish until then.
So if it gets too late, I would do it earlier. Then I'm not opposed to it. That's fine. It's whatever the group wants.
Okay, so let next
Whatever the
week
group
we'll go
wants.
back. Next week we'll go back to 8:15.
8:15. Because I thought we were doing 8 o'clock today, so I didn't realize. And then I looked, I said, oh my goodness.
Yeah, but you came at the right time.
Oh, Baruch Hashem. Baruch Hashem. Thank you. Thank you. A
you have a
lot
good
of great information.
Have a good week, everybody.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you
Thank you
very
so
Thank you.
much.